welcome to the show. I am really excited about today's episode because we are going to be talking about aquafaba and chickpeas. And I just love this topic because we eat a ton of chickpeas, and aka garbanzo beans, in our house. So it's a great topic because I always have them in our cupboard. And we eat, my husband and I were talking about this earlier today, we eat 1 to 2 cans for sure a week between the three of us. So it's a very popular topic. So anyway, we're going to talk about aquafaba, which, let's just dive right in. So aquafaba is actually in Latin means water bean. And it is the liquid that results from cooking garbanzo beans. So we're going to talk all kinds of things aquafaba, and then also all things garbanzo beans / chickpeas. So as always, please send questions, comments in the chat section. I love when people are interacting and we can have a conversation. So anything you'd like to bring up about our topic today, or topics that you would like me to discuss in the future. So we've got options here. But yes, please interact during the show. So let's just keep talking aquafaba. So it's also known as chickpea water or garbanzo bean water. And when I'm talking about it today, I'm mostly referring to the liquid from cans. I did a little research, and basically, they say that you can, of course, make your own garbanzo beans and then use the liquid from that, but it's kind of hard to tell based on how much liquid you've used and how long you've cooked the garbanzo beans or whatever. So it's pretty much a standard when you're using the cans, the consistency. It's pretty thick, actually. So you're welcome to make your own. I don't know the results because I've only used canned. So that's what I'm referring to when I'm talking about aquafaba today, is the liquid from canned garbanzo beans. So, like I said, it means water bean, which is, I pretty much always just drain them into the sink and then rinse them, and I never use that liquid that's in the can, but this is a great opportunity to use it. And I'll tell you why. It is an egg substitute, and you can use it we're going to use it in 2 recipes today, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But just talking about the consistency. So I did a little research, and 1 tablespoon of aquafaba can be used to replace egg yolk. 2 tablespoons can be used to replace a white, and 3 tablespoons can be used to replace a whole egg. So that's pretty cool. And one of the recipes we used today called for 3/4 of a cup of aquafaba, and I had to use 2 cans of beans to get that amount of liquid. So I would say 1 can has about, that was 3/4, so that's almost 2/3, so a third has about a third of a cup, maybe a little bit less than half a cup. So if it calls for that, you just be prepared. You might have to use more than 1 can. And so it can be used in baked goods as an egg replacer. It can be used in meringue. Spoiler alert, we're making meringues today. Or actually, I already made them because they do take a little bit of time, but I wanted to show you the end result. So meringues, it really worked. More on that later, but it really worked. I was excited. I had never made meringues with aquafaba before, so that's very exciting. You can use it in ice cream. We're also going to be making something else today. We will be making it. I have all the ingredients right here. We're going to be making a mayonnaise, vegan mayonnaise made with aquafaba. And I've also never made it before, so it'll be a test, but I don't see why it won't work. So that's exciting as well. So 1 tablespoon of aquafaba only has 5 calories, so it's not taking up a whole lot of space in the calorie bank. It has less protein than egg whites for sure, but because it's low in calories, and so there isn't a whole lot to it. because it is water and it's mostly starch, little bit of protein, but the combination of those two things, it reacts to whisks and beaters the exact same way that egg whites do. So that was pretty cool. It produces a foamy, creamy texture, and for the meringues, it's like it was foamy and then it actually did form into stiff peaks like it does for egg whites for meringues. So that's pretty awesome that it's something that can truly be used as a replacer. And it doesn't, egg whites don't really have a whole lot of flavor anyway. So the Aquafaba doesn't either. So switching gears a little bit, let's talk chickpeas and let's talk garbanzo beans. Same thing, chickpeas, garbanzo beans, depending on region or just how you refer to them, it's the same thing. And because of the garbanzo beans, we have the Aquafaba. So I wanted to talk about the source of the Aquafaba, which is chickpeas. And they are just chock full of nutrients and a great addition to your lifestyle as long as you're not paleo or doing any sort of lifestyle diet that restricts the use of legumes in your diet. But if you eat legumes, it's great. So let me just give you the nutrient profile. So half of a cup of chickpeas has 120 calories, 2 grams of fat, no cholesterol. Anything that's plant-based will never have cholesterol in it. Cholesterol only comes from animal products. So we can talk about that on another week if you would like to talk about cholesterol. But one great thing about it is that it does not have cholesterol. It has 239 milligrams of potassium, 20 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fiber, which, half a cup isn't a whole lot of carbs. And, and also I'm going to maybe sometimes refer to them as garbs. That's how we call them at our house. Garbanzo beans, garbs. Half a cup also has 7 grams of protein, which is a really good source of protein. And it provides 8% of your daily needs of iron. So if you are eating a plant-based diet, it's a good source of iron. So keep that in mind. So let's go into some of the details of the nutrition of it. So the protein and the fiber work together to help your appetite and your digestion. So because they're a fairly good source of protein and fiber, it slows our digestion and it keeps you full longer. So you may find that you eat less when you are eating garbanzo beans because of this fiber and protein. So there was a study done. 12 women were given either 1 cup of chickpeas or 2 slices of white bread before a meal. And it didn't say, but I'm assuming that they each had the same amount of calories because the test was to see fullness. So I'm going to say that it probably was. So 1 cup of the chickpeas and 2 slices of the white bread, they each probably had the same amount of calories. And the women found that they were much fuller after they had 1 cup of chickpeas. And then they were asked to eat a meal. So when they did this, they ate much less of a meal when they had the 1 cup of chickpeas before the meal, and their appetite was a lot less too, versus when they ate the white bread. So that's interesting. Probably because of the fiber too. Fiber and the protein. That's what they're saying. And on the topic of protein, the chickpeas have almost all of the essential amino acids, which last week, episode 47, we discussed protein and amino acids and the essential amino acids. So if you missed that episode, check it out. That was last week's, and we talked about amino acids. So that's almost all the amino acids. It's only missing the methionine, which you can get from whole grains. So if you pair your chickpeas with some whole grains, you got your complete protein, you have your essential amino acids, and you're good to go. So that was good information as well. Also, chickpeas have been found to support blood sugar control. And there are a couple of reasons why. One is that it's lowish on the glycemic index. So glycemic index it's a marker of how quickly your blood sugar rises after you eat a food. And so the lower the number, your blood sugar won't rise as much. So the higher the number, your blood sugar will rise quicker. So it is lowish in glycemic index, which is good. And so that helps manage our blood sugar. And because of the fiber, carbohydrates slow down or absorb slower in the body, just in general when you're eating a higher fiber diet. And it helps promote like a more of a steady rise in your blood sugar versus like a spike, like if you ate a piece of candy or something, especially in people with type 2 diabetes. So the fiber, the protein are really great aspects of chickpeas. And let's see what else. What else? Now it may help with our digestion as well. I know I mentioned it a little bit a couple minutes ago. But the reason for that is that the fiber that's in chickpeas is mostly soluble, like chia seeds. You know, I'm going to mention chia seeds every week. I think we talked about chia seeds smoothie, episode 14, pre and probiotics. We talked about it, episode 18. You're pretty much going to get a little sprinkling of chia seeds every week. But anyway, they form a gel in our body, and that slows the process of food going through our digestive tract, and it's good for things like lowering our cholesterol, things like that. So also a good thing about this slowing of the digestive tract is that it helps increase the number of the healthy bacteria in our bodies, which the higher the healthy, the lower the bad, unhealthy bacteria. We talked about this episode 18, pre and probiotics. So that's a good thing as well. And it may help. So on to more of the health benefits. Chickpeas, garbanzo beans may help protect us against heart disease because one of the reasons is because they're high in magnesium and potassium. That's good for our bodies. May help prevent high blood pressure. And the fiber aspect that I was just discussing may help decrease our triglycerides and decrease our LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. We want that number to be low. There was a study. You know, I love talking about studies because I did nutrition research for 8 years. So I love studies. And there was a 12-week study. 45 people ate about 3 cups of chickpeas a week. And at the end of that 16-week study, the average total cholesterol decreased by 16 milligrams per deciliter, which is amazing. So let's say your cholesterol is 216. You know, the ideal is below 200 for total. Let's say your cholesterol was 216. You were a little bit above. Had these 3 cups. Well, the people in the study. 3 cups of garbanzo beans a week for 16 weeks. Their cholesterol went down to 200. Let's say if you had 216, went down to 200. It's pretty good. It's pretty easy to do. 1 can is, I think, 2 cups. So it'd be about 1.5 cans of carbs per week. So not too difficult because there are so many things you can do with garbanzo beans, which I'm going to talk about next. And that they're so great because they're inexpensive. Canned are inexpensive. You can buy them dried and you can cook them in a slow cooker, or you can boil them, or whatever method. I buy canned just because I find that we'll eat them more if we have them in a can. It's easier. And usually you can find them for like $1 a can, or maybe $1.29. Ways to integrate them into your diet: add them to a soup, add them to a salad, roast them. That is one of our favorite snacks in our house, is roasted garbanzo beans. All you do is drain them. Now I'll give you a reason to keep that aquafaba, and rinse them. Spread them on a baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, 400 degrees, cook them for about 20 minutes, stir, cook another 20 minutes, stir. If you like the status, take them out, let them sit for about 10 minutes, or maybe cook them for a little bit longer. And it's a crunchy, delicious snack. And you can put curry, you can put all kinds of flavors, cayenne. You can make hummus, you can make smoothies, all kinds of things with garbanzo beans. But let's go back to aquafaba. So I'm going to show you one thing that I made today, which was meringues. And I'll tell you how I made them. And then we're going to make a recipe together. So here we go. I still have them in the oven because part of the process of making them is keeping them in the oven after you've cooked them. And I cooked them for an hour and 45 minutes. And that was done maybe 30 minutes ago. They were finished about 30 minutes ago. And I'm going to get them out and show you the final product. And then I'll tell you how I made them. And they look and smell and taste just like meringues. I'll get a little closer. Isn't that fun? Aquafaba. No egg whites in this. So, here, I'll just keep them here. So, oh, actually, no, I'm going to come back in because they're supposed to stay in the oven. Okay. So what you do is you take 3/4 of a cup of aquafaba, the chickpea liquid, if you're just joining us, and half of a teaspoon of lemon juice. And you take the hand mixer and you beat that. The recipe, I was following a recipe from All Recipes. And although I did change the ingredients kind of a lot. So I feel like it's loosely based on an All Recipes recipe called vegan rose meringues. Although I did not put rose in them. I didn't have rose water, so I decided that I would use vanilla instead, which I prefer that anyway. So anyway, 3/4 cup of aquafaba, half a teaspoon of lemon juice, and then you blend that with the hand mixer on like medium-low until it starts to get foamy and frothy, which took, it said 10 to 30 minutes. It took maybe 12 minutes. I had it in the stand mixer, but there wasn't enough liquid, so I probably did that for like 8 minutes, and then I got the hand mixer, and then I was able to make it foamy and frothy until, so yeah, it was probably 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes. And then I added a teaspoon of vanilla, and that was it. And then I kept blending, turned it up the speed, and then I slowly drizzled 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup, which the recipe that I was loosely following said to use confectioner sugar or powdered sugar. I didn't want to use that, just keep it a little healthier. So I did maple syrup and cut the amount by a lot. So it said, I think it said 3/4 of a cup of confectioner sugar. I used 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup. Slowly drizzled that in as I was beating it with the hand mixer for about 10 minutes until stiff peaks form, so that you take a spoon or the beater and then the peaks stay when you go like this. And it's really cool because it's like magic. All of a sudden, it's like, you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to take forever. And then there it is. So that took about 10 minutes. So that process takes a little while too. So that probably took like 30 minutes to do all of that. And then spoon it into a Ziploc bag, cut the corner so you're making your own personal piping bag. And then you just spread them onto the parchment paper and baked it for, it said an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I did an hour and a half. They didn't look totally done. So I did 15 more minutes. Then you turn the oven off, only at 200 degrees. So it's not very hot. And then you just kind of let them dry out a little bit. So vegan vanilla meringues. And they are delicious. I tasted a little bit before baking them, and it was really good. So now we are going to make vegan mayonnaise, which I'm really excited because I'm really not a fan of mayonnaise. My husband likes it, so I'm hoping that this turns out well, and then he can have this. Although we always have regular mayonnaise too, so I guess there's not a huge reason to have it, but it's nice that it's plant-based, no eggs, which usually you use eggs. So let's make some. Let's make some vegan mayonnaise. Okay, I have the recipe right here. I'm going to move it so I can see it a little bit better. All right. What you need is a hand blender or an immersion blender, hand mixer. Here we go. I'm going to just attach this here. Okay, here we go. Hand mixer. This is a Mealthy hand mixer. I used to work for them doing recipe editing. And the cup that comes with it, usually all the brands have it. So that's the appliance that you'll need. Okay, now we're going to put in, I'm very excited about this, especially because I've never made it. And I tend to do that. I've been finding on this show that I make recipes that I haven't made before, which I feel like that's going against the rules. You know, they always say don't try a new recipe when you have guests over. But I think it's kind of fun. So 2 chopped cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. Where did I put that? Oh, it's right here. Okay. A tablespoon. I already squeezed some lemon. So I'm going to pour this. Oh, perfect. Exactly 1 tablespoon. Lemon juice. Okay. And 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. I have Grey Poupon. Sometimes I have Trader Joe's, as you may have guessed. Okay, 2 teaspoons Dijon mustard. There we go, 1. There we go, 2. That seems like kind of a lot, but that's good. I like mustard. Oh, and I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this. The recipe that we're doing is called Easy Vegan Mayonnaise with Aquafaba from Serious Eats, which you can find that on Serious Eats. You can find that on the Relish website. That's where I found it. I went to relish.com, searched Aquafaba. That was one of the ingredients, or that was one of the recipes. So Serious Eats, and it's called Easy Vegan Mayonnaise with Aquafaba. So that is the reference. Okay, 3 tablespoons Aquafaba. So this was leftover from the cans from when I made the meringue. Oh, that's perfect as well. So if you're looking to use Aquafaba and you open 2 cans, you can make a whole recipe of meringue and vegan mayonnaise. So that's pretty cool. Okay, and let's see, Aquafaba, and then 12 chickpeas, which I thought that was really funny. Just 12. Okay, and with that, we're going to put that all together, hand mixer in here, and blend. Okay, just a little bit more. It smells really good. It smells like mustard. So, there we go. It's pretty good, nice consistency. And then it says to drizzle in, how much vegetable oil? 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. So, oh, almost enough. Good thing we have another bottle of it. So, here we go. 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Good. Okay. So as I'm mixing, I'm going to drizzle it in. Okay, here we go. It's looking good. Looking like mayonnaise. just want to show you this so far. Looks like mayonnaise. Very exciting. Okay, then transfer to a bowl. Transferring it. Here we go. And then we are looking for 1/4 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil. I'll add that here. Here we go. Excuse me. I was leaning over. Okay. And, oh, we have to whisk that in. Okay, let's get a whisk. Whisk. Okay, here we go. So we've got our mayonnaise. We're going to slowly whisk the olive oil in. I buy the Tunisian organic extra virgin unfiltered chatoy, I don't know if that's how you say it, olive oil from Trader Joe's, of course. That's our fancy olive oil. And I love it. Like for the finishing touch of a meal or dipping bread or anytime you want to have a nice tasting oil. It comes in this blue tin. Let me show you. From Trader Joe's. Okay. Looking good. All right, let me put a little bit of salt. So just a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. Okay. Here we go. Let's put a little. Okay. It looks good. All right. Success. So, I am excited to say that Aquafaba does work. It works. It's an egg replacer. I'm so excited about that. Thank you all for joining me today. I review what we discussed. So we discussed Aquafaba, the liquid that is in cans, the liquid from garbanzo beans, chickpeas. So when you buy a can, don't drain it. Save it for something fun. It is made of mostly starch, a little bit of protein, but it works really well as an egg replacer if you're avoiding eggs or eat a plant-based diet or if you're allergic, any of those things. Try it. And let's see. It comes from garbanzo beans. Garbanzo beans are a great, chickpeas are a great source of protein, great source of fiber, may help lower our cholesterol, helps with our digestion, bringing in the good bacteria, may also help lower our blood sugar or keep our blood sugar at a steady pace, so it doesn't spike, and help with our appetite. So if you eat there was a study, some women ate it before a meal. They were way more full than if they ate bread before the meal. So something to keep in mind. And they're inexpensive. You can add them in anything, smoothies. You can add them in soups, salads, make them roasted, make them hummus. And then you have your aquafaba to use to make meringue. You can put that in. There was also a recipe on relish.com that was using it to make pancakes. Made them nice and fluffy instead of using eggs. So there's that. And what else? Ice cream, which that's interesting. I would like to try that. Homemade mayonnaise. We will be using this tonight. Maybe I'll make some dinner with the mayonnaise. So thank you all for tuning in. It was a really fun show. I'll see you again next Monday. And check out my Instagram. It's at Allie Shircliff, ALLISHIRCLIFF. And I will be posting the recipe for the meringues. Maybe I'll do the mayonnaise as well, since we have it here. And thank you. I'll see you again next week. Okay, bye.